Hello everybody, it's me, Fjeller. So, I know I have not updated the site in a while, and I have not uploaded any videos in a while. And in fact, I missed out on clearing the Valkyria Chronicles challenges on the channel. But that's because I was working on this video, which is even better, in theory. So anyway, what I got for you guys today is the video for the God's Twilight, or the God's Evening, or whatever the hell they're going to call it when it comes to global. For the purposes of this video, I'm just going to call it the God's Twilight. So, what is this mode? This is a all-new PvE mode, added with the Fury of the Sand World patch, which is the patch that introduces Rostam and Ashimir. Or I guess it's actually Lost Ham. Yes, that's actually what they called them in the global version, and it pisses me off, but whatever. So for global, if they follow the same pattern, we will be getting this mode in mid-August of 2022. So from the time I upload this video, you will have about 2 months to prepare for this mode. Possibly only one, depending on how they shift around the content sometimes. You know, sometimes they do that. But hopefully, these videos will help you guys prepare for this mode, because I do think this is a mode that some people are going to need to prepare a little bit for. I don't think Wells are going to need to prepare for it, because obviously you have like everything built. But I do think a lot of you want to be prepared for this mode, even if it's just mentally, just because it is a pretty important mode. You want to clear it soon after it comes out because it has weekly rewards. I mean, I'll explain all that later in the video, but for now, let's keep it to the basics. So what it is it's a new long-term fixture of the Secret Realm. It will be placed under Ancient Beckoning in the menu, so it's another new, like, full permanent mode they're adding to the game. This mode unlocks at level 65 on your account, but it is very clearly targeted towards endgame players. It requires a really large selection of hero units, and you want your covenants to be high level to make it easier for the most part. Now, this mode consists of multiple sets of 4 stages each, but when it first comes out, there's only going to be 1 set of stages. So, this particular video, I'm only going to be going over the basics of the mode, and I'm going to be uploading another video simultaneously that is about the first 4 stages that comes out with the release of this mode. Hopefully I can be a little bit more timely with the release of a video for the second part. Hopefully I'll be able to make that one a lot faster. But anyway, let's move on to the details of how the stage progression and reward structure of this mode works. So as I mentioned, each set of stages has 4 stages, and in each set of stages, you can only use each hero 1 time across all 4 stages. So it's similar to the Kingdom of the Aurora, where you get sets of 3 stages where you can use each hero only once in the 3 levels. Except this time it's 4 levels, and the stages are much harder, and you need to plan a little bit more ahead. In addition, in these 4 stages, you can only use each covenant once. And in fact, when this comes out, you are only going to have 4 covenants, because Odin will not be out yet, so you will only have Thor, Frigg, Heimdall, and Balder. Worth noting that you don't have to take a covenant into each stage, so if you've been lazy with your covenants and you don't have one of them leveled up, or you don't have one of them unlocked or something, you can still try to beat the stages without covenants if you want. But some of these stages are pretty tailor-made around some of these covenants' abilities to make them way easier if you have them around. So, just something to think about. If you're somebody who doesn't pay attention to your covenants, I'm guessing you're also somebody who doesn't have particularly built units, which obviously in this case would compound the issue. So as I mentioned a second ago, the structure of these stages is kind of similar to the sets of stages you get in the Kingdom of Aurora. You can reset your progress through the set of stages at any time if you feel like you screwed up and you used up a hero or a covenant that you actually wanted for another stage. Hopefully from these videos you will be able to plan out your hero and covenant usage a little bit better. Okay, so I think that's pretty straightforward, so let's talk a little bit about the reward structure for a minute. So as you can see from one of the pictures on the left here, and my description here, clearing a stage will earn you a certain amount of dark signets, which is this little picture on the right here. And as you can see on the bottom strip of rewards on the top image here, if you earn dark signets, you will be able to unlock these chest rewards, and these are one-time rewards for each set of stages, which of course in the case of when it first releases is just 1 set of stages. So for these, you will gain one of the chests when you earn 3, 8, 15, or 24 dark signets. So the rewards are these things called Dawnblessings and Dawn Stars, and you also get a couple of those Pole Star meteorite crystals, which is those things that immediately give you a bunch of the Covenant experience. The Dawnblessings and the Dawn Stars, I'll explain what they are in a minute here. Just know for now that they are quite important. These are the unique rewards from this mode, basically, and they are very, very important. So in addition, every 3 Dark Signets you earn, you actually also earn a Twilight Aurora up to 5 times per set of stages. So in other words, you can earn up until you have 15 Dark Signets, and then you'll have 5 Twilight Auroras. And finally, there is a weekly reward. This weekly reward is based on your highest recorded Dark Signet score, with the first tier of rewards starting at 8 Dark Signets. You can collect the newest set of weekly rewards alongside all your other weekly rewards, so it resets on Sunday at midnight or whatever your time zone is, but you can pick it up on Monday. And even if you pick it up right away on Monday, and you later on in the week you decide to run God's Twilight again, and you get a higher score than you had before, and you reach the new tier, you can still go back in and go get the rewards you didn't get. So don't hesitate about picking it up when it's open at the start of the week. So needless to say, because of this weekly reward, you do want to try to clear this mode soon after it comes out. Basically, the week it comes out, you want to start working on it and try to beat as much of it as you can so you can start earning these weekly rewards. Because as I'm going to discuss in a minute here, the rewards from this mode are consumable, and you're going to want a lot of them, and you're going to see why. But before we get to that, some details about the battles themselves. So faction buffs are largely irrelevant in this mode. Similar to Ancient Beckoning, all unit stats are increased in this mode, so you will not receive any stat buffs when you cast a faction buff, although obviously you will still get the special effect. There are a couple fights where I would say the special effect is important to have, and I will mention them when we get to them. But for the most part, faction buffs are not required, and that is definitely very liberating, because if faction buffs were required, that would make this mode a whole lot more annoying than it already is. Okay, so here we have one of the unique mechanics introduced in this mode. So in addition to the 5 units you can field on each map, you also can field backup units. As of now, every stage they've released allows 3 backup units per map, so you have to field 8 units total. Well, you don't have to field 8 units, but some of the maps you definitely want to be doing that if you want to make your life easier. So as you can see on the left picture here, you got the 5 units that the player has deployed and 3 units in backup, and he's dragging Listel over to replace one of his units. So anytime during the battle, or not anytime, but during the player phase, there is going to be a button on the bottom left of the screen that basically opens up the swapping menu. You are able to swap your units when you click on that. So you are only allowed to swap a limited amount of times, but it does regenerate each turn by 1. Generally by 1 anyway. I don't think I've ever seen it regenerate by more than 1 per turn. Certain maps have a higher number of starting swaps than other maps. And usually that's a pretty good indicator that it's going to have way more annoying mechanics for that fight, because basically they designed it around the idea that you're going to be swapping characters in and out way more often. So if you have a unit out of your 5 fielded unit who dies, you can use the backup unit to reinforce into the missing slot. In fact, I think you have to reinforce into the missing slot. You can't just swap in units. So in some cases, if you get to the point where you have less than 6 units total, you actually automatically fail the map because of certain mechanics that are going to happen. So the first implication of this, obviously, is that since you can field a total of 80 units per map, and you have 4 maps total per set of stages, you are going to need 32 total heroes built if you want to be fielding, every single slot in this mode. And obviously, you probably need more than 32 heroes built because of team balance and, stage-specific considerations. So the other thing worth noting is that when you put a unit into reserve, most status effects on that unit will be preserved as are, and they will remain the same when they are returned to the field. So if you have a 2-turn damage dealt plus 15% buff from Miracle or something, as soon as you return them to the field, they will still have that buff, even if it's like 5 or 6 turns later. However, the number of turns they were in reserve does restore some HP to them. It does reduce their cooldowns if they had any cooldowns, and each fight has a special mechanic or a special debuff usually that does tick down while they are in reserve. Usually this is a good thing, but in some cases it's actually there to make the map harder. And again, I'll talk about that in specific when we get to the specific fights. And final point here, I mentioned it earlier, you're going to need at least 4 Covenants built if you want to use one in every stage, but they are not absolutely required. You can enter stages without a Covenant if it's necessary. Alright, enough about actually playing the game. You guys are here to watch your numbers on your heroes go up, so let's talk about the rewards. So first, I want to talk about the Twilight Auroras. I mean, these are items that already exist in the game, obviously. Previously, we didn't get enough of Twilight Auroras to max level all of our Covenants, and I don't think God's Twilight actually gives enough to max out every single Covenant still, but it helps it along. And unlocking at least 65 nodes on the board for each Covenant is actually important now, because you are going to need it if you want to use the new items here, which is the Dawnstars and the Dawnblessings. So the Dawnstars, at the same time that these items come out, they also released a bunch of new nodes for each of the Covenants. Every Covenant will have 6 new nodes added around the board, which have pretty high node unlocked requirements. As I mentioned, you need to have at least 65 nodes unlocked. So these 6 nodes around the board are all stat ups, but the thing is that each one of them actually gives a lot of stats at once. So here I have listed the final Covenant stat boost for your heroes after you have leveled up these 6 new nodes. And you can compare it to what we have in game right now. Some of the differences are quite significant, as you can see here. Frigg, for example, right now we only get 45 intelligence from her, and after these 6 new nodes, you get 75 intelligence from Frigg, so it is not an insignificant difference. So finally, you have another thing called Dawnblessings, and I know a lot of you are not going to like this. So the Dawnblessings are a new separate system, which add even more stats onto the Covenant, or stat bonuses rather. So these also increase hero and soldier stats, and they also provide unique bonuses that are different for each Covenant. And oh boy, here comes the part that all of you are going to love. These are also randomly distributed in a range. So similar to equipment enchants or mastery stones, Dawnblessings are consumed each time you want to roll on these stats. So you're going to need a lot of Dawnblessings if you want to max out your Covenants. Okay, so Dawnblessings, talk a little bit more in detail here. Each Covenant, as you can see here, they have 3 nodes for Dawnblessings. To unlock these nodes in the first place, you need to use Dawnstars, but after that, you have to roll on them using Dawnblessings and gold, so similar to enchanting or mastery stones. As I mentioned a second ago, they're randomly distributed among a range, just like enchanting. The left and right nodes provide stats, and you actually get all 3 of the stats under the left and right nodes. And then you get a unique stat that is different for each Covenant in the center node. But you only get to have 1 of the 3 stats, and of course it's randomized in its range as well. So anyway, if any of you want to just stop, pause the video here and take a closer look at each of the bonuses here, feel free. I would say every single Covenant has at least 1 center node boost that's pretty useful, but some of them are definitely better than the others. That's all I'm going to say there. So that's all I have for the basic information on the God's Twilight. So I will also be simultaneously uploading a second video to talk about the first set of stages, so please stay tuned for that. And hopefully I'll be making similar videos for each set of stages that releases after as well. So with that being said, thanks for watching this video. Hopefully you'll find this video series useful. I'll see you in the next one.